Hey everybody, Kyle Goth here from GoatFilmReviews.com and the Goat Film Reviews YouTube channel. I just got home from a screening of The Tragedy of Macbeth, directed by Joel Coen. Didn't get a chance to do the actual first reaction in the parking lot. It was extremely cold. My heater wasn't doing so great. So I did it when I got home here. This is directed by Joel Coen, not Ethan Coen. So the Coen brothers usually do pretty much all their movies together, even though Joel Coen gets director credit a lot. Ethan helps write the scripts, produces, and it does seem like he's probably involved in the directing of the films. There's always been that kind of like, we all assume, there's been some discussion. Yeah. This one is Ethanless, and notably so. Joel mentioned that. If you guys know me, you know that my love for Shakespeare really kickstarted in college. And my three favorite plays by Shakespeare are Othello, Julius Caesar, and Macbeth. Macbeth is one of the, that's not the ranking, but like my top three are those three. King Lear has started to kind of crest in there as well. But for me, Macbeth is one of my all-time favorite plays. It's one of my all-time favorite Shakespeare's. And this was a very, very capably done version of the tale. To note, it is the play. I mean, it is the play, The Tragedy of Macbeth. So if you're going into it thinking, oh, you know, they're updating the language. No, this is not one of those versions of it. This is a true-to-form Shakespeare play. Joel Coen wrote the script, which means essentially he took and molded the words, and I'm sure he made some cuts here and there. Like I said, it's one of my favorite plays. I don't read it a ton, just because it is something to have to sit down and ruminate on. I don't see a lot of, I'm actually strikingly low on adaptations, film adaptations of Macbeth. So I haven't seen it displayed a lot. It's just one that I really, really love. I think Coen made some great movements with kind of formatting the script to a film. My big criticism of it, I'm going to get to this early, is that I don't entirely feel like this was an adaptation of a Shakespeare play. It was more a translation of putting it to the screen. And as I've said before, especially with another Denzel Washington film, Fences, was my big criticism for that film was that I didn't feel like it was a stage, or that it was a movie adaptation. It was a movie translation, meaning it didn't get that kind of, it didn't utilize the tools that you can utilize with a movie. This one does more so just because it's got a very specific visual style. It's in black and white. They use some CG, they use some computer-generated fog effects, very small kind of minimalist sets. But in that way, the minimalism on the sets made me think that this could look very similar to a play put on stage. I want to see a movie version. That's just my one small criticism. Overall, I thought the movie was really good, though. So don't let that one criticism like push you away from it. I thought the movie was really good. Denzel Washington is a solid Macbeth. He plays it differently than I read it. When I read Macbeth, he plays the role a bit differently at the beginning, but as he starts to succumb to the weighty toll of his moral decisions, he starts to come into line with what I expect Macbeth to be. It's not to say he doesn't do a great job at the beginning of the film, but he just does the film very differently than my expectations. We got Frances McDormand playing Lady Macbeth. She's very good. She is fantastic, and she is exactly how I picture Lady Macbeth when I read the story, which is, you know, someone who is kind of stuck in a specific place because of her gender, reaching for power, seen as kind of that, you know, dichotomy of like, is she a villain? Is she a victim? I've always kind of sided with the villainy because I think they're both villains, but she has the strength to push forth, or the wit, perhaps. Corey Hawkins was great as Macduff. Brendan Gleeson was fantastic as Duncan. There was a couple other people I don't recognize, but I thought performances across the board were great. I think the crazy scene stealer for me was Stephen Root as the porter. He only gets one scene. He only gets one moment to shine, but the way that he adds levity to the situation as the porter who's waking up from his drunken stupor is fantastic. I'm blanking on the name of the lady that plays the witches. The Witches is a very unique version of this. They play the witches as kind of like a singular, one actress playing all three witches, and she kind of plays them as though they're at times personalities in the same body, but then she also portrays the old man, who's not traditionally a variation of the witches. So the way that Coen kind of utilizes the witches in the film is very very visually depictive, and that's probably the most film adaptation version of it, of the entire film, is the way that he utilizes the witches, played by one actress, who's kind of speaking to herself Gollum-like, but then also getting kind of like a deeper fixation on the story. Yeah, I thought that was really, really cool. So there's a lot of things I really enjoyed about this movie. I do wish it had more of a adaptation flair. Like I said, if I want to see a play, I'll go see a play. If I want to see a movie, I want to see a adaptation of the source material. And so there's a few things that I would say to change that up with, but overall, really enjoyed the movie. That's my slight, and I'm just going to bring it up because it is something I noticed. It is something I wish was maybe pushed a little bit further, but you come to these movies to see the performance. I mean, you do. You come to see the performances of the characters because it's such a well-written tragedy, and I love tragedies because you go into it. They're one of the few things where it's like, even spoiling it doesn't take it away because they say at the beginning it's a tragedy. You know the ending that will be on display, and you just have to figure out how we're going to get there. So spoiling these things doesn't even really bother me that much. So overall, really enjoyed the movie. If you get a chance, check it out. It is still in theaters. That's where I caught it. It's also available on Apple Plus. I currently don't have Apple Plus. That's why I just said, screw it, I'll just go to the theater. But you can check it out there. I do think it probably looks better on a big screen, on a big theatrical screen, because of just the stark black and white depictions that Coen puts to screen. But see it however you're able to. I'm not gatekeeping on that at all. So go check out the movie. Let me know your thoughts down below, and you can check out my film reviews on gofilmreviews.com. Check out the many videos we have here. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment with your thoughts on the film, and click the subscribe button as well. While you're down there, you can check out my sibling show, Kyle and Nick on Film, the other YouTube channel. Down in the description, we got some info for that as well. That's new episodes Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, where me and Nick Polatichuk from the St. Paul Filmcast discuss our various hot takes on movies. Look for more of that as we swing through with our Season 4 for 2022. That's all I got for you guys. We'll see you the next one.